Podcast fam, this Friday, my original track, Closer, is out on all streaming platforms and available for free download on SoundCloud. It's really hard to promote and market our tracks as individual artists, so I'm asking for you guys to help me out and pre-save Closer by clicking the link in the show notes or on my Instagram page. It takes 2 seconds and it really helps so much, guys. If you pre-save and send me a screenshot, I'll send you an early copy of the track along with the instrumental for all my editors out there. I appreciate the support on this one, so help me out. Pre-save Closer now. Thanks, guys. The Get Down is brought to you by Digital Music Pool. Digital Music Pool is the ultimate record pool for professional DJs looking for the hottest tracks and exclusive hits updated daily in an easy-to-use platform. You can find exclusive edits from myself, Cream, Adam B., Andrew Marks, Angelo the Kid, Armin Averu, Chumpian, Dan FX, Castra, Pat C, and Samus J only on DMP, and we're giving you a chance to try their service for just $9.99 for the first month. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down or Cream Instagram pages, create an account, and enter the promo code CREAM at checkout for your discounted month. DMP is my go-to record pool for new and exclusive music to play in my sets, so become a member for just $9.99 for the first month with the code CREAM and check it out for yourself. Click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down or Cream Instagram pages to sign up now. You will not be disappointed. On this episode of The Get Down, we feature DJ Tyler Valentine. Tyler is a staple in Asbury Park, New Jersey nightlife and has witnessed its transformation over his 10-plus year DJ career. He is also a prominent figure in the Asbury Park LGBTQ plus nightlife scene and can be found as one of the residents at the famed Paradise Nightclub Bar. Tyler has worked with Get Down for a little over a year and brings fresh perspective as an LGBTQ plus DJ, holding many residencies at both gay and straight nightlife venues. Tyler's another guest whose versatility has made him the successful DJ he is today. Let's get into this episode of The Get Down with Tyler Valentine. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 123rd episode of The Get Down, brought to you by Digital Music Pool. My name is Cream.
GaryW here.
We have a guest for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Let's say what's up to Tyler Valentine. What's up, Tyler?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
We were chopping it up a little beforehand, and I was like, we've never actually met, so this is nice to actually see each other and not just talk or text on the phone.
Yeah, I've gotten to meet Tyler in person a couple times, like in passing. Either I'm like running to a gig or DJing upstairs at the Ashford. So Tyler works at 626, one of our venues in Jersey City. We've been booking him for probably about a year now,
something like that, give or take.
Yeah, and I feel like we've been booking you more and more over there. You're becoming a favorite in 626, which I feel
tough over there sometimes.
Which I feel is one of our toughest rooms that we book because the staff is picky. Number one, the clientele is so diverse. It's a LGBTQ friendly bar, gay club, but we have a very heavy straight clientele, and then it's also just diverse in the fact that you can play. You have to be well versed in Latin. It's Jersey City, right?
Yeah, it's Jersey City.
Jersey City is the way we like to put it. So, so talk about kind of your experiences over there so far and how you've liked it, and how does it differ from some other spots that you play?
So that spot's actually super cool as a gay bar because a lot of gay clubs pretty much stick to like that house BPM range the entire time. And then you could play like remixes or like hip hop mixes, but it has to be like that BPM. Like you could just go like full like hip hop and like trappy there at points, which like I love because like that BPM range is like where I'm just like having the most fun. Is like the like either 100 BPM or like the 140. Like I love the like clientele there because they are really responsive to a lot of that, which is super cool. But,
yeah, I feel like we've brought in gay DJs, lesbian DJs, whatever it might be, and it's like when we bring in certain other guys from Paradise, they all stick to that 128 BPM, 130 BPM. And in 626, you need to really jump outside of that in order to keep the crowd engaged. So yeah, it has been a unique spot, and it's been tough for us to book there. I'm not going to lie, like because the staff gets so used to some of the familiar faces, to break in there as a new act is very difficult. And that's why I think at first, like whenever we bring somebody new in, they're very defensive. And then, you know, I just continue to keep booking guys, and because it takes 2 or 3 times for the staff, number one, to warm up. And then I think it also takes that many times for the DJ themselves to get used to, you know, who's in their room and what really should be played.
It took me a little while to get up and running in there also, where, you know, for the first couple of times I was in there, I was definitely very unsure of myself. And then once I kind of like understood the vibe and what worked in there, I have more fun there than many other places I play right now. And you're right. It's because you kind of can go anywhere, literally anywhere. And you get such a positive reaction to all different types of music. And that's pretty fun because, you know, that doesn't always happen in a lot of our places. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Like I hate sitting and having to play like a pure pop set or like a pure just like only hit. Like I love bouncing everywhere. Like that's more fun. And I feel like it's more interesting for people dancing too if it's not like the same beat all night. Like that's fun for me. Like if I'm out at a bar, I want to hear everything. I don't want to hear one thing all night.
Is that kind of what your DJ style is? It's like kind of what you would like to hear out is what you're playing?
To an extent, because like I also love like spacey dubstep weird stuff and like drum and bass, and obviously like that's not gonna fly at like a normal bar, but like I want to hear something sometimes when I go out like that I'm not expecting. Like I love when a DJ is willing to experiment, because like you could play like all the top 40 hits all night and like it'd be great, but would it be like fun or interesting is like always.
So let's talk about, because I don't know anything about like how you started out or what, you know, where your career started out. Like, so how did you get into DJing? What inspired you to get into DJing? And kind of like, where did your career start?
So like, what is it, like 11 years ago now, I started on like the like festival, like just going to festivals and raves and like weird warehouse parties in Philly and stuff. And I was like, I want to do that. So then I started kind of playing around on like virtual DJ, which is like just the top quality back then.
I think I started on virtual DJ.
I feel like
too.
everyone did if they didn't use like the Serato, like their old like Serato boxes and stuff, because that's when back when I started, everyone had a Serato box. Like that was the. But I started kind of just playing around in like rave music and stuff like that, and then I booked my first show at the Saint in Asbury, which is like 150 people, like literally a thin line of a room. Almost like 626, but much smaller and a little more grungy. And Asbury wasn't the super cool spot that it is now then. It wasn't bad because it was still up and coming, but it's definitely a totally different ball game. Right. And then it's kind of been nonstop ever since.
So you established a footing in Asbury Park before it popped, or as it was coming up, and now, I mean, you do literally the entire Asbury circuit.
Yeah, you own that market. Sure.
I love it there because you can the crowd there. It's everything from like, depending on where you're playing, the typical like frat top 40 like college girl, and then you also have like the more like distinguished clientele at some of the venues. Hi. Okay.
Special guest.
Special guest. That happens often.
You have some of the more like distinguished older clientele at some of the places, or like, you know, the like early 30s to like 40s at like Watermark, which is a super great venue that I just started at. And I did a wedding there a couple of years back. Yeah, it's a beautiful spot.
Gorgeous venue. Yeah.
So I really like that Asbury is not just like, it's not one type of people, because it's such a town that has such a history in music, especially like rock and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I would say let's expand a little bit on that and just, you know, explain to people who are listening exactly what Asbury Park is, because people listen all over the place, so they don't necessarily know what Asbury is all about. And just maybe explain a little bit of like where it came or how it started, where it went to, and where it is now?
Asbury Park it's so hard to describe like this city because it's such a small town. Like it really is a small little city by the sea, essentially.
Yep, right on the shore.
Yeah. It's went from super like wild rock forward, like in like the 70s and 80s, and then they kind of had there's some deep racial based history that happened for a while, and it kind of fell off the map and was a pretty unsafe place to be. And now it's kind of getting its own renaissance, and there are cool spots like the Stone Pony, which is legendary, and like people like Bruce Springsteen and stuff played there. Yeah. The Wonder Bar is another like super legendary venue. You have Convention Hall. That's this really huge historical venue and super great. It kind of is now becoming, I don't want to say oversaturated, but
I was going to say it's like getting yuppified a little bit.
Yeah.
The yuppies are coming in.
Yeah, the like New York money is starting to come in and kind of remove that like grit and coolness that was there, which like I love to keep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went through that in Hoboken also.
Oh, yeah.
Similar, where it was like nobody wanted to be there, and then now everyone wanted to be there, and the rents are crazy.
I feel like Hoboken and Asbury have very similar parallels in the fact that, like, if you think about like 40s and 50s Hoboken, like people were immigrating here, and then if you're thinking about 40s and 50s in Asbury, you had the casino that was still open and thriving, and then you had the like urbanization of the residential scene, and when you started to have high-rise buildings go up, and then everything kind of got a little gritty in both of those cities. And that's when the rock scene really, really popped in Asbury is when it was gritty.
Yeah.
And then it started to bounce back there in the early 2000s, and same with Hoboken. Like, and the money started to move in, and I unfortunately, like, I feel like it is somewhat of the entertainers and bar owners' responsibility to keep that grit there, that to have a little bit of that edge still, and don't let it get too commercial. That's the one thing about, though, Asbury that I do like, is that there's not a ton of big business there, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot of mom and pop owned places.
Yeah, a lot of them are smaller owned venues, or they own, 2 restaurants or something like that, or there's not a lot of huge corporations in there.
Yeah.
There's no really
I think
chains.
As long as it stays like that, like Hoboken's we're getting Nike and Lululemon and all that stuff that comes in, and it really takes away from kind of the essence of what the city really is.
We did get a Hurley store like 2 weeks ago, or like a year ago or something. So
I kind of can understand that. You needed some kind of surf
shop on
not to shit talk Hurley, but they can leave.
I think like your style and your diversity in the music that you like to play, it translates to the venues you play, because like you were saying a little earlier, you can kind of go into one place and play the top 40, or go into another place and play all house or play open format. Do you think that's something that you've helped drive because of your music style, or do you just think that it's just kind of what happens in Asbury?
I always like playing to the room I'm in. Like, I really do. Like, if it's a space and it's, it's a bar that's like a rock bar or like that, or it's, it's clearly a top 40 bar. It's all like college. Like, I love playing to like that room because it helps expand kind of what I'm listening to too, which is something that I've always enjoyed about DJing and music, is finding new stuff, even if it's like maybe a radio hit or something. But
you got to do your homework for those places that maybe you're not as up on, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, I'm just thinking about like when I do Latin nights and like how much homework
you do Latin night, and you've been doing some country nights. So it's like
country nights recently. I'm doing Latin night next week.
I like started like doing kind of like, because like once a month, because the charts don't change super often for like top 40 stuff, I'll like search, and like name kept popping up. It was like Morgan Wallen. I was like, who the Morgan Wallen? And that like kept happening to me. And I was like, this is not good. But it like goes off.
It goes off.
It goes off, and I'm like,
I know. I refuse to play it. We talked about this a couple
episodes ago. I was like, stop playing this Morgan Wallen bullshit.
This was me with Blurred Lines when it came out, or like anything Meghan Trainor. Like those are all my nightmare. That's all my nightmare music is.
The Bruno fans are going to come after you. Like the Swifties are coming after me.
God, forget it. It's the last thing we need again.
Not a huge Taylor Swift fan, but there are some like mixes I can get behind if it's like not super pop, her whining about an ex thing.
Yeah. I think any music that you can get a really big response from the crowd, I'm happy to play.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's Taylor Swift, sure. If it's Morgan Wallen, unfortunately, sure. If I'm going to get that really, really big reaction.
Yeah.
And Taylor Swift gets those reactions all the time. So,
like, partially, like, yeah, we like doing it because we like music, but we are there for them as much as we want to be there for ourselves. Sure, Gary would play a Grateful Dead night if he could.
He has. Oh, believe me, he has.
I've put them together. Don't worry.
So let's get into. I want to talk about Paradise Club because I think some people listening won't know who that is, but what that is. But it's one of the largest, most recognizable clubs, and you're a resident there. So could you just tell us a little about what goes on there and, you know, why you love playing there?
So Paradise is actually this like massive compound space. There's like an outdoor pool and there's this like tiny little copper bar where they do like drag shows and it has like a little stage. And then there's their main club, which is like big dance floor, like great lights and everything. They have like a huge LED screen. And that's kind of the venue where that is a very house focused like gay club. But the DJs they bring in there, every kind of gay DJ is different in that aspect because there's like circuit type gay music, which is not my vibe because it's literally that like very minimal vocal, like almost tech housey.
Right.
The clientele is fairly diverse there, not like 626 level where it's like literally anyone and anything could walk through there.
Yeah.
But Paradise kind of has such a long history in Asbury too. They were there since I think like 70s or 80s.
They've been there for as long as I can remember.
They're actually owned by Shep Pettibone, who produced Madonna's Vogue and a bunch of his stuff. So there's some real history there. Cool. But I love playing there because I actually can play a lot of those like bigger house drops because I don't play at too many like formal club where it's like a formal club dance floor and you're sitting. The great part there is like you're behind a booth that's completely covered and no one can talk to you, which is such a rarity now that no one can speak to you, which like I love.
Same.
I actually just it's funny you say that they have that there because I just went to a gay club down in Orlando called Southern Nights.
I love Southern Nights.
And their booth is the DJ literally can't see over the booth. He's just buried in the back, just playing music. There's no like reading a crowd, nothing.
See, I would hate that.
He was just like sitting back there, just playing music.
Yeah, I love to be able to read a crowd like there. It's like this big glass shield in front of you.
Oh, nice.
So you could see everything, and people like come up and hold their phone, and there's like a big sign that says no request, and I'll just like hold it up because like that's a formal club, so it's like I know better than you here. It's different than like an open format like bar where there's that, you know, we've all played at places with the big center horseshoe bar, and then there's people dancing around it, and that makes more sense to like take a request.
Yeah.
There's fewer and fewer of these bigger clubs. So I think, you know, we're all lucky enough that we get to play in them still, but not everybody does. And you're right. It's like, it's really nice to be able to go play those big drops sometimes because you can't always do it. And you need those big rooms to survive, to play. It's called big room music for a reason, right?
Yeah. Like I always want to like, I love like drop focused music and it being like super energetic and high. Like I love a high energy set. Like that's fun for me all night.
Yeah.
Did you get to play with Hex Hector on Pride Weekend?
I played the night before he was there. So I opened Pride Weekend on Friday and he played Saturday and then the tea dance Sunday. But yeah, Hex Hector plays there regularly. He's a resident on like all their holidays and he's obviously a legend in his own right.
Yeah, I got to go check him out because I've been listening to his music for, you know, obviously 20 something years at this point, but never have gotten to see him DJ, which kind of sucks. Yeah. But I think at some point.
It's nice to have that, music business, music industry owner that really actually appreciates the DJs and appreciates having high level talent, where they create a booth where there's no requests and people can't get up to you. And I'm sure the sound there is great. They're bringing in people like Hex Hector and, big name artists. And that's another thing that we just aren't seeing as much of. So it's refreshing, and I love to hear it,
Yeah, the like dance music scene specifically too, like getting a lot of these venues like, no, you should book like a bigger act, like book like Headliner, which is a club in Neptune, are now starting to book like, they had like Akraz and like Wax Motif, and like they're actually starting to book like bigger name artists, which is cool to see on the Jersey Shore, because that we haven't had that since like Seaside existed.
Yeah.
I got to catch MK there last summer. It was great.
Yeah, I think they redid their entire outside now too. Since you've probably been there, it's like insane. Like they have LED walls everywhere and shit.
Yeah. It's coming along there. I know they just redid the inside for this summer as well. I want to transition real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's going off of kind of what we were talking about and having to be kind of malleable and be kind of bendy toward what venue you're playing at. As a gay DJ, when you walk into a straight place, or when you first started off, did you start off in gay clubs, or did you start off at straight bars?
Literally like grungy straight bars. Like one of my first residencies was a Sunday night at this place, Farrell's in Point Pleasant, and Shore House in Point, like both those. And Shore House then was like super low key, like it just converted from this like restaurant type vibe, and Farrell's is an old fisherman's bar.
Oh wow.
So it was like I was literally playing like AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and like just like
Nice.
70s like rock and stuff. Like that's what I was doing, because it was early money and kind of getting my foot in the door in places.
Right. Just doing what you had to do.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, like I said, didn't know how you started, or like if you just like stepped into like a big nightclub. Some people kind of do step in shit, and their first couple of gigs are playing bigger spots.
I got lucky.
This guy here.
I'm almost happy that I didn't. Like I would have loved to like do that early on, because I would have been younger and like more awake and not tired at night. But it's nice because now I get to appreciate kind of like the journey of like, okay, now all this has built up to playing these nightclub spots that are a little more fun, and I get to kind of play around, not having to play AC/DC anymore.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here. Gay club versus straight bar. What do you like? What do you prefer to play?
Is this a daytime or a nighttime thing? Because I do both.
Nighttime.
Nighttime gay club.
Yeah.
I feel like people come there more to party and are a little more free, and it's a little less girls screaming "Play Bad Bunny" at me.
Right.
It's a little more
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, or Taylor Swift. Sometimes we get the Taylor Swift gaze. But it's like I'm not going to make the Beyonce fans come after you, but watching like a reaction to a Beyonce track in a gay club is like, I love it. Like especially a lot of the new album, because it's so sampled from so much stuff. Like that's the kind of I
love the education portion of the like how knowledgeable I feel like my crowd is when I go play a gay spot, because I can play a Beyonce track and then play like what was sampled on that track next, and it will be known.
Yeah,
you know,
like being able to play "I Feel Love," like such a classic song, and people like actually reacting to it and getting it. Like that's great, and I love like doing that in a straight club. I can't really do that.
You know, it's funny. That's the first time I knew that 626 was going to be a different room, because the first couple times I played there, I played "I Feel Love" and fell like on deaf ears, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be difficult." I was thinking, I'm going to have to recalibrate what I thought was going to work all night. But yeah, I mean, I prefer that crowd because of, like I said, the knowledge and just the musical history there.
So 626 was the first gay club I've ever played, and like I said, it took me a little while to like understand what was going to work at 626 compared to what works in some of my other rooms that I'm playing. And I did have to go and learn more about the history of sort of the house music that's really popular and some of the stuff that I would never play in a straight club that I have to play or feel like I should play in a gay club that I was just never playing. And, learning more about Vogue and ballroom music. And like, it really took me back to just doing homework and figuring out what was going to work and then going and testing that in a room. And I haven't had to do that in a while. And it was actually really fun. And now I go in there and I feel really confident. And it's one of my favorite sets I play because people are just there to have a good time,
Right.
Like people there are there to dance and drink and have fun. And I love that. And that's not always the case in a lot of the places that I play. And for that reason, I love playing 626, and I, make sure I'm there now at least once a month.
See, you didn't. I grew up going to Sound Factory and Limelight and the Tunnel, and the Roxy and all of those classic New York City venues. That those crowds were always so mixed, and the DJs were playing everything.
Yeah.
Like Circuit was. I don't know if it was called Circuit back then. It was just house music. It was what was out at the time. And like Junior was very big in the scene, and Hex Hector obviously was putting out records every week. And I think being exposed to those DJs and those crowds that early on, I kind of had a good idea about what, the history of gay music and gay DJs and gay producers. So I had like a little bit of a one-up, but also I was also like the old man DJ in the room, because if I'm playing any of that stuff, it was like stuff that was 20 years old anyways. But it's an experience that not a lot of people really got to have as a DJ, unless you're, older.
Right. I wasn't going out to those rooms usually when I was younger. I was more of a hip hop guy when I was kind of growing up or going out initially. So
I feel like the nightlife scene back then was a little more integrated than it is now. And I feel like things have become so it's a gay bar, it's a straight bar. I don't know. That could just be me.
So it actually, like, when I, 10 years ago, it was literally like even more strict. Like, this is a gay bar, this is a straight bar. And there was not like a lot of mixed clientele, really. Like,
Right.
I would, back when like Deco still existed, like in North Jersey, they had like their gay night on Fridays. And that was like very much, it's a gay night. But then also on Wednesdays, they would do like the Wildlife Wednesdays, and they would bring in like Diplo and the bigger acts on a Wednesday night. So like seeing the like dichotomy of those two. And now I feel like we're starting to see more 626s where there are straight people going, and it feels a little less like it's more, which like I don't necessarily love, if that makes any sense.
Do you think that's a good or bad thing?
I think that a lot of the younger people now that are coming up and turning 21 are kind of going to these bars, and they're bringing their straight friends, because more people, like young Ys, are more accepting than they were even like 10 years ago. But I also feel like it almost kind of harms the gay nightlife in a way, because it's starting to, some of the clubs are starting to get into like this really straight music. Like I did hear Morgan Wallen at a gay bar, and like I never want to hear that. I'm not saying it needs to be like all the stuff I like, but that kind of stuff's like a little weird to kind of see happening. Yeah. I don't necessarily know if it's good or bad. Obviously, acceptance is great, but I do like having my space with my culture a little bit.
Right. No, I get that. I get like wanting to have that quote unquote safe space, but there obviously can be places where you have the like complete integration, right? Where you are bringing in gay DJs into a maybe that's even like that's a good space, like bringing in gay DJs into a non-gay club.
Well, I think we're seeing a lot of drag shows in traditionally straight spots right now.
Yes, drag is
right.
Which is
I feel like drag's blowing up right now,
which is wild because of how many places in like the country are like scared of drag for discernible. Because like you've both, I'm sure, seen a drag show at this point. And
yeah, I mean, I DJ Friday night at 6. So.
Yeah, so you've seen it. So you're like, and now that you've seen it, it's always like, why are people so scared? Like
Yeah.
what are people
Right.
so worried about? It's someone.
It's the not knowing.
Yeah, it's literally someone in a glamorous outfit or a wig or not dancing to some kind of diva.
I think they're incredible hosts. You know, that's what I take. I take things from some of the drags at 6 and use them on the mic because they're really, really good hosts. And I was like, wow, that's a great way to introduce something or to bring in a song or whatever.
Yeah, we've had some great hosts at 626 for sure. It's just, yeah, we're like to the point where like all of like their surrounding bars and restaurants are stealing our drag queens.
Yeah.
And that's with drag queens, they're gonna get their money. They are gonna get their dollar.
They can get 3 shows in a night. They will do it. You got to respect that hustle, though. You know.
I think in nightlife, it's literally drag queens for hustle, and then DJs are like way down here. Drag queens have that hustle. That.
So we at 626, something that we run into is many times like Gary will tell me, you know what, we got too straight last night, and I had to just clear the room. And I think that's something that as we're integrating more, it's a little bit of a challenge because it's right as DJs, it's like, okay, we could play the room and play the songs that we know are going to work, but if we're at a gay club, we want it to be a gay club, you know. And it's like sometimes we got to push the straights out so that it really stays a gay club kind of thing.
Yeah, it's something that we try to educate our DJs on. Like, don't be afraid to clear the room at 626 specifically. Because if you feel like it's maybe getting a little too straight, it's getting maybe a little too like hood in there, ratchet in there, or whatever it might be, it's like, all right, like turn on some stuff that you're going to clear this space a little bit and let's remake it a safe space, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something that we battle with in there constantly because of how unique and diverse that room is.
Which, like, I feel like that's something almost unique to even Jersey City, because I feel like even New York, you have neighborhoods in New York. Like Jersey City is just everything together in one spot.
Yeah.
And I haven't even like gotten the real like opportunity to kind of explore Jersey City's renaissance as it's happening, which I feel like probably has been happening longer than I've realized.
Yeah.
Like I know the waterfront is getting really nice now too.
That's kind of where it started. They like put up like a couple condos back in like 2000 probably, and then like it started to build from like the Newport stop on the path, and then they built it back from there.
Yeah,
but it took a long time.
Downtown Jersey City, where all of the restaurants, and not all, but a lot of the restaurants and nightlife are, used to be, you know, warehouses and old row houses. And my family was from there. So like I used to go down there as a kid and there was nothing. We would drive around in places where there's all brand new, incredible loft buildings and, you know, taller apartments used to be like trash on the side of the road and warehouses and trucks. And that was really it. So it's been interesting to see from when I was a kid to what it is now. And it really is an amazing place. There's, like you said, literally all walks of life. I think it's one of the, I think it's like this, well, there was, they got something, it was either the most diverse or second most diverse city in the country. So it's a really unique, unique place.
Just like as a whole, like that's one of the reasons like I love Jersey as like a place, because we have so many different cool spots.
Yeah, I feel like your market and the Jersey City market is very similar.
Yeah.
With the diversity and the amount of places that the amount of different venues that there are that exist in those spaces. I got a question for you because I when I do Latin night, right?
Yes.
I walk in and I like think about what I'm gonna wear. I think about so many different aspects because I feel like I'm gonna be judged being this white guy that's playing a full Latin set, right? Now your how would you say, kind of like your image when you DJ, you rock your fishnets and you're not heels, you're like platform shit kickers, you know? And like, do you ever tone that down? Like when you're going to play a straight place, do you ever feel like you're going to be judged or do you feel intimidated in walking into a place when like, because like I said, like when I'm going to do a Latin night or do a different night, like I'm always thinking about like what I'm wearing, but maybe that's just me being self-conscious.
I used to do that more, and now I don't care anymore, like what people think. And like
that.
Yeah.
Specifically with Asbury, because now it's become so built up. and it was like Jersey's like biggest gay area. And now I'm noticing like all these straight people coming in. I'm like, no, I'm going to be as gay as possible now. I'm like, I'm going to be like violently gay. Like because if people are feeling uncomfortable, like because there's a gay person there, like they just shouldn't be in that area. Like that's
Right.
This town is because of a lot of the gay people that came in and kind of built it up.
1000%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I played the night after you played 626 last, and everyone was talking about your set, and everyone was talking about, just your performance that you put on in the booth. And it's not just playing music, but it's like getting up on the DJ booth and like dancing on the booth and all this stuff. And I think that's really awesome, and it's a great way to set yourself apart from other DJs and really, like you said, like create your image and your brand, and that's part of who you are. And like, I love that you just don't care, and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I do because this is me, and I love that.
It kind of hits the point where it's like people are either gonna like what you're doing or not. And as I feel like if we have like this is our job, we might as well make it fun for us, right? Like play some stuff we like here and there and kind of perform a bit or however we see the night being better for us too, and making sure they're having a good time. I feel like it could be both.
Yeah.
When as artists we are being who we like really want to be, I feel like people are attracted to that. And when you find the people that appreciate what you're doing, and it's like those are the people you want to attract and become your friends and fans anyway. So, I think if we all took that mind state and approached our brands in that way, we would be better for it.
Yeah, it's like, do I really want to build a night and have people think I'm going to play like Taylor Swift all night or like that music all night that like I don't necessarily enjoy, and like they might be getting it because I'm getting a reaction, but if I just play that all night, then people are going to be like, oh, he's the Taylor Swift DJ. I'm like, I don't want to be known as the XYZ DJ like ever.
Yeah. Taylor Swift's been getting a lot of burn on the podcast. The last two.
I could go for hours.
So, do you have a direction? I was going to ask some quick. So, obviously our podcast is geared towards kind of helping other DJs. So, some questions we kind of want to ask all of our guests, and the first would be if you're talking to a newer DJ or someone who's just starting in the industry, what's some advice that you could give that person?
Honestly, it depends on what your goal is. Like if you're trying to make it a career and be like you're trying to become a regular gigging DJ, it does help a lot to go out and listen to what other DJs are doing. If you don't have the time though, like actually paying attention to the charts and like the radio, and then looking up the last 5 years of charts and stuff, and then kind of just listening to what's happening. But if you're trying to do it where you want to become an artist and make a brand, then immediately going out and like playing what you want to play and accepting that you might not get booked for a while doing that. And that's you have to kind of decide what you want to do in the beginning. Like that was hard for me to be like, no, I want to DJ like dubstep and electronic stuff. Like that's what I want to do. But then I was like, okay, I'm not going to get booked if I just do this all the time because I'm not a producer. So I kind of have to accept that because I'm not a producer, I have to kind of play to the crowd a little more than maybe I'd like sometimes.
We all do.
Yeah.
I think last time I spoke to you, you said you were going to dabble in some production. Have you been doing any?
I will make some edits for myself or like take some acapellas and put them on different instrumentals that I find fun. So not super deep in the production side, but more just trying to make it my own. So I'm not just playing the same edits that people are getting from the same record pools, because a lot of us definitely use similar record pools, I'm sure.
It's a great way to set yourself apart a little bit, even though it might be the same vocal that every other DJ has. It's your own version of it, and that's how I kind of got going on it too.
Have you been dabbling in stems at all?
Yes, I have.
Because it has revolutionized my DJ sets.
I actually have the Rain 4 mixer now.
Oh, nice.
And it has like the whole built-in stems feature, which is it's wild how good it is. Because before, if you wanted to try to do that live, it was like, well, I'm going to do this terribly and just pull the bass and the mid out keep the highs up and hope it sounds good.
I just learned this weekend that it uses the FLX10 when you're using the stems on the board. It doesn't use any CPU. CPU.
Really?
No, it doesn't even, like, my computer doesn't act up at all when I do it, which I thought it would. I was a little concerned.
Yeah, they're now building the mixers and the controllers to alleviate the stress that it puts on the computer.
So would it? I'm just thinking along the lines of like the next CDJs are probably going to have this feature, right? Does it go? Probably. Is it going to go on the mixer, or is it going to go on the CDJs?
Probably on the mixer, right?
I think it probably will go on the mixer, and there'll be like a stems button. But also with CDJs, now that you don't, I think we're hopefully entering the age where they remove the CD player fully from them, because who is still bringing CDs?
Yeah, I mean the 3000s don't have a CD player.
I know it's wild that for so long they kept putting them in there. Like, who? Yeah. Could you imagine just like still having to bring like a sleeve of CDs with you?
When I play at DJs, one of the owners still DJs there, Kip, and he literally still plays CDs. He's burning like new music, putting it on CDs, and that's how he plays. He switched over to USB sticks for like one season, but now he's back to CDs, and he brings his book, and he's got his glasses on and a light, and he's just ripping CDs. It's incredible.
I just can't imagine. Like, that just seems so inefficient and wild to me. To like do like. Because it doesn't.
When you've been doing it for 40 years, right? It's like, I don't know. I guess you can do what you want.
Like, because I almost get the appeal of like the vinyl. Like, I do get the appeal of that and like the like digging through a big crate. But like a CD sleeve just feels like just get a flash drive at that point.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at.
When you commit to vinyl, you're committing to playing like long, extended songs.
Yes.
You know, with the CD thing, like you still got to be quick. Because I when I DJ'd back in like the last time I used CDs was probably like 07. I remember like still quick mixing with CDs, and like you were like flipping through things, and I'd have to make CDs with like I'd make double CDs and like have like songs back to back that mixed well with each other and stuff. It was great. It was way more work that went into it. But
I want to go back to the stems thing, because I think us as DJs, like a new feature comes out and we all hate on it. And it's like, oh, it takes up too much CPU and it does this. And then you actually use it and you're like, holy shit, this is awesome. And I feel like you just went through that, right? And did you have a similar outlook on stems when they first came out?
I have always loved like mashing stuff up and doing stuff. Like one of my earlier sets was literally just an Ableton Live set. Like, and that's kind of before even virtual DJ. Like, I could do an Ableton Live set.
Nice.
Which, like, I love the, like, taking a part of this song and putting it in a part of this song. And, like, I feel like that was, like, you hear, like, the, like, Red Bull, like, 3 style sets where they're literally just doing, like, the most insane shit that I can't even comprehend. But, like, that's the thing with stems. It now makes what people were doing with Ableton or, like, mashups and stuff, like, instant. Like, you can be so creative so fast now, where you could be like, oh my God, wait, that sounds good. Like, as you're listening to a song, and then you could just do it, which is like, that's insane to me that we now have this ability to just.
There's like plenty of old songs that I have that don't have intros, or like they have like a hard vocal in that I had never been able to mix before that I can now mix in. It's like
you just
phenomenal.
You just take the vocal out of the track you're playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, going back to the new DJ thing, like the idea that like, because for years when I started, everyone was like the sync button. And that was the huge debate for years. And it's like, why are you hating on something that means you can do more things now? Now, like, mixing 2 tracks together when you're not on vinyl, like, it's all on your screen. You could easily see everything. Like, it's not like, yeah, we can all beat match by ear, but it's no longer like the skill anymore. Like, that's.
Yeah.
Right.
I listened to an interview with A-Track, and he talks about using the sync button. He's like, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know how to mix 2 songs together, and using the sync button allows me to put on a better performance, and it creates a better experience for my fans that come to see me. So why would I not use something that creates this better experience for everybody?
It's literally like, I'm only going to drive a manual car because it's more of a car. Like, no, it's not. Yeah. You're still driving the car. Like, just.
I think that the good DJs will figure out ways to use stems creatively and tastefully, whereas the bad DJs are going to create these train wreck mashups. And like, just like anything else in nightlife and in DJing, you know, the talented people are going to use it to their advantage and everyone else isn't.
Yeah, I love technology getting more and more creative until we get to AI and it starts taking our jobs.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
Soon enough.
We haven't really talked about AI yet on this pod. I think we'll have a whole podcast about it. But I've been really dabbling into it and following some DJs who have been doing some really cool things and like simple things. For example, DJ Freefall, who came to our meetup, and Gary went to their meetup down in Orlando. He's using AI to find like the years that songs were created and putting them into his Serato. That's just like one simple little thing that he's using AI for, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's super. Actually, if I could have AI just organize my crates for me, I would.
Right,
I would.
that's amazing.
I would love that.
Go check out Freefall's Instagram. It's right on there, and it shows you how to do it.
Yeah,
big shout to Freefall. Yeah. I just started following him, and like I messaged him, and I was like, dude, all right. I commented on one of the posts. I was like, this is super useful. I'm like going to use all this stuff.
He's been thinking about ways to like use AI in so many different aspects for DJs. So definitely check him out. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was saying my crates are a disaster. Like that's the other advice for new DJs. Organize your music and stick with organizing it, or you will end up in the horror show that is what I'm dealing with right now. Where I got lazy and I was just dragging stuff. I'm like, new music tonight. And I would put it there. I'd be like, 10:23 tonight, and like now I have folders of stuff where it's just everything, and it's getting difficult. So I have to like actually sit and do that at some point and reorganize things.
Don't get too far behind, because man,
it becomes a mountain of horror.
It can turn into a year of work.
Yeah. It's part of my organizational process where whenever I download new music and put it into Serato, I force myself to put it in the crates that each song belongs, because if I don't do it right then and there, I'm never going to do it.
Yeah, I'm very backed up on organization right now.
You need a day for organization, Serato.
I think I need more than that.
All right, so a couple other questions. Do you have a favorite gig you've ever played, and why?
So I actually did the Stone Pony Summer Stage, which is a huge outdoor venue with lots of big artists. And I opened for Trixie Mattel, drag queen there, or drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race. But there was like 3,000 people, so it's the largest show I've ever played.
Nice.
And just like being outside and kind of getting to do my thing and actually play to like that large of a crowd was kind of wild, because it's like adrenaline hits.
Yeah.
When you're like in front of just that many people.
Were you nervous beforehand?
Yeah, I wanted to throw up.
Yeah.
Now, were you given like musical direction by?
No, I just knew like that clientele, like it's going to be people who watch RuPaul's Drag Race. So maybe might not be like a nightlife aficionado crowd. Like I'm not going to play like deep house cuts.
Right.
And like things like that, where like you kind of just have to accept maybe you can't give them this artistic journey, but
shallow end of the pool.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, dip their toes into like maybe a remix of Lady Gaga. Like that's the extent we go there.
Do you want me to hit the next one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So what is a positive change you'd like to see in the DJ industry?
I would like DJs, as you guys are doing, to stop being so cutthroat with each other. You guys are having the meetups and trying to offer help, which I think is great. Whereas like when I was coming up, there wasn't like a lot of that. It was still super cliquey, especially like Cream. I'm sure you've like the Seaside scene. Like that was super. You were in or you were not in.
Yep.
And like that.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I was never in. I never got in the shore.
Yeah,
ever.
you
were. I was a North Jersey DJ, New York City DJ, and that's what I remained.
Yeah. So DJs actually just like be nice to each other. There's literally enough work for all of us. Like there actually is enough work. Like we can.
Yeah, we spoke about that extensively at the Orlando meetup, because they have a very cutthroat industry still. And I'm like, well, what are your guys' rates? And then they told me their rates. I'm like, they're like, well, they haven't gone up in 30 years. I was like, no shit, they haven't gone up, because you're all cutting each other's legs off.
Like, like I make great money for what we're doing, and like our rates are really good here. And then I've been offered like $100 at some venues, and I'm like, I'm not driving 2 hours to make $100. Like that's insane for like a 6-hour set. And it's like, if we're all like nicer to each other and actually like work together, we can make more money and like there's more work to be made.
There's certain markets. Charlotte has a group that's similar to ours, and I've been really trying to find more markets where there are groups that are helping each other, because you just hear, those markets are doing better. There's more venues, there's better rates, and it is like, it's just better. It's better for our industry if we're helping each other and not crushing each other, and it's the only way that we can move forward as an industry. And I hope that we're contributing to that. I always say to Gary, like, I don't want to gatekeep. Like, I don't want to be the person. So, we think about that a lot too. So
yeah, like, and that's why, like, I appreciate you guys doing the meetups and stuff, because it also gives you a chance to network, which as DJs, because we're always working on the weekends where normal people would do a networking thing, it's really challenging to actually meet other DJs and talk to them, or go see another DJ even now. Like, if you're regularly gigging, it's basically impossible, which kind of sucks.
It does. I going to visit your DJ friends and hearing them play makes you a better DJ too,
Because then you hear a song, you'll be like, oh, wait, I should have been playing that this whole time.
Yeah.
That happened to me recently with Honey by Mariah Carey. I like forgot the song existed, and I was like, oh, the song's great.
Yeah, this is a banger.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny when when songs like that do kind of come back around, if you will. Like, if you would have listened to that song probably 5 years ago, you'd be like, this sounds so old. Now it sounds like it could be new again.
Yeah.
So yeah, go see your DJ friends to steal some music.
All right, next question. What's your biggest challenge right now?
Honestly, trying to find newer spots to play, because I feel like I want to like delving more into like the artistic side of it. Like, I want to keep growing, especially like my fan base and stuff. And when you play a lot of the same residencies for so long, it starts to stagnate for you. Not that like I'm not appreciative of it, but I always want to play somewhere new, because it then becomes a new challenge at a new, different type of music, different clientele, different everything. And
you have a bunch of residencies. Like, you play, I don't know. I always feel like I'm looking at your socials, and you have like 6 or 7 places that you're playing regularly.
Yeah.
I mean, a testament to how good of a DJ you are if you're getting brought back time and time again at all of these venues.
So what are some things that you're doing to try to overcome that and get into some new rooms?
I mean, talking to people like you guys. But it does help actually talking to other DJs who do have rooms, and then potentially gig swapping, which is another great thing that you can do, is try to gig swap and maybe break into these new rooms that way.
For sure.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I still have not broken into New York City yet. And the next...
Kind of shocking to me that you haven't...
That's a whole other scene of...
Yeah.
I haven't entered that scene yet.
It's a different animal for sure.
It's just the hours are long, and it's tough.
It's like no parking, and just getting to the city as a whole.
Yeah, from Asbury, that's not very easy.
No, it's really hard to be like, oh, I can go to the city and make less money, but drive 4 hours. Where I could go like 10 minutes from my house, and I'm just at my job. Yeah,
that's the battle with growing, right? Because you're comfortable with going that 10 minutes and you're there. But like, in order to grow as an artist and as a DJ, I mean, Kareem could talk to this because that's all he's doing is traveling at this point. Like, you have to go drive that 2 and 3 hours if you want to grow as an artist.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's a good, I also used to have a lot of residencies, and I loved it at the time because I felt like I had a grasp on this Hoboken, Jersey City market, but I felt the same way. And I was like, all right, I got to go do something else. And sometimes you have to go take a little less money or play a little longer set to go get into another room or break into another market. And for the short term, yeah, it's like, all right, I'm making $150 or $200 less dollars and I have to drive, but you don't really know where that relationship can bring you. And yeah, you know, you drive 2 hours to go to Connecticut or to go wherever, and you could get 2 or 3 or 4 other opportunities from that. So that are bigger and pay more or are higher, you know, higher value or profile, whatever. Yeah, higher profile. So I know it's hard to kind of get out of that. I'm making X amount of dollars for my sets that I love playing here. You got to like once or twice a month kind of like build those in.
it's going from thinking about this as like just a job to like also an artistic endeavor. So there's this like balance that you actually have to take.
Right. Well, speaking
it's
about it
perfect
being,
transition.
just a job, if you weren't a DJ, what would you be doing?
Oh God.
I said the same
all
thing.
All
the
of
other
us
day.
kind of do that same
Like,
thing. Huh?
It's so like, because I started like before I actually got into DJing, I was going to college for like game design, and then realized that I'm really bad at math, so that's not an option. I can count to 4, so I know I could DJ. I mean, I've been in like the restaurant industry for a while. I'd probably enter the like political space at some point. Not being like a politician, but like I do pretty closely follow politics because it's important. Right. Whether you want to believe it's not or is, it's really important to actually just be engaged.
I think that's the first time anybody's ever brought the political spectrum up.
I will not bring up any spectrum, just that you should be following it, and it's important to actually just follow what's happening around you so you're aware.
Be knowledgeable on what's happening.
Just know. That's all. That's about as deep as I'll get.
All right.
I mean, is there anything else that you want to cover or any topics we haven't covered yet?
It's not particularly. It's just always like trying to. My favorite thing before the season starts is guessing the next like big sound, because like it was Big Room, and then it was that like slap bass, like the Roses, like that slap bass sound on everything.
We've had some rants from someone on this podcast about how much we hate that sound.
And then the what is it? I was like praying that like that disco sound, I've been waiting for it to come back, and it's still not back yet. And I'm like, you could do it. Come on. We're almost there.
I feel like we get away with that though enough. It's not the sound, but I feel like you could still like I still play funk all the time. Like disco funk constantly.
Yeah, like
I wish there was more of like the LF System sound, because that's more of it's like a bigger disco inspired house music that you can play more places. I feel like a lot of the disco-y stuff that I'm playing is more like early vibes in the night, and I want more bigger vibes in the night that's not gimme.
Yeah, I love Purple Disco Machine. That's definitely an artist who I'm like big into, because I love all the like mixes, and a lot of it'll be like pop mix, but it just sounds so different to me, and I love that.
Right.
They're really great producers. Their sounds are really crispy.
He's ridiculous. But the only thing with him is that it's a lot of early.
Is it one guy or more than one guy?
It's one guy.
I thought it was 2 guys.
Yeah, but it is that early sound, which like does kind of suck that you can't like go into that, because then like now the like it used to be Booyah or Tremor. It used to be like that midnight peak sound, and now it's like Fisher. And I'm like, how did this happen?
Well, I think you were kind of going down the timeline, and like the tech house then sort of took over and it's kind of been king here for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, and I'm sick of it.
I think the big techno stuff is kind of taking hold right now. You see a lot of the artists kind of diving into that world, whether it be the true techno, or I call it big room techno. It kind of has like techno vibes, but it's electro housey also at the same time.
Well, like Hardwell just put out like that techno album like a year ago or something.
Yeah.
And
he played EDC and played a techno set and everyone hated it. And then this year he played a techno set and everyone loved it.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess that's a testament to actually like knowing what's about to happen and like actually being good at what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, when you have an influence like he has, like you can kind of do what you want.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think the next sound is?
I am going to pray that it's drum and bass. I
said that 2 years ago.
I think that's a little too fast for the common folk, but I love drum and bass. But that's also like because it's so funk influenced and stuff like that, just like the drum patterns and things.
Yeah,
like I love that.
I like the like 134 BPM more melodic drum and bass, lighter, I guess, like drum and bass light. That's how I might describe it. But I thought that was going to be the sound. Yeah, when we did our year-end show 2 years ago, and I was like, drum and bass is going to hit next year, and just never really.
The BPMs
pops.
are definitely speeding up, so we still have a chance.
We don't. I actually think what's going to happen is the that 90s sound, because all the beggar artists are starting to just remake all these 90s songs. Like David Guetta keeps doing it. And like I feel like we're gonna get a big Crystal Waters remix from someone at some point. Like that's the sound I think that we're going to see. I
like that
call. Because that's actually a great call, because I have my classic house folder that is all of that stuff, and I play it every single set, and it doesn't matter where I am or what, except for the country bar. It goes off. It works.
Yeah, it does work.
Like 100% or like what is it, 100% Pure Love and like Show Me Love, like those songs will never die.
No.
Show Me Love will actually never die. Like that is the unkillable club song.
That goes down with the whatchamacallit, the what's the hip hop song that we talked about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That like you play every set, and it goes off. Fat Man Scoop.
Oh, Be Faithful.
Yeah,
Be Faithful.
another won't go away.
Right. I feel like those two songs just
I
never
started
got
playing
away.
Show Me Love a lot again, because I'll play Beyonce Break My Soul, and I play Show Me Love right either before or after. I just feel like it's like a clean transition. It's a good, usually early or later part of my night.
Yeah, her whole albums, I mean, influenced on all that stuff. So like it is seamless.
It's weird playing Show Me Love where a majority of the crowd is so young, but they all know it, and I'm just confused. Like, how do you know this? You're all like 22. Like, it's not like they're sitting home on Spotify like listening to it. So that's where I'm like, how?
I've had to disassociate age with my crowds in a lot of cases. I feel like I was overthinking it for a long time, and I'm like, well, I'm too old, and I'm not playing the right music for them. But they're just as educated about music than anybody.
That's how I'm starting to feel. I'm like, am I too old for this crowd? I'm annoyed by all of you.
Different eras.
Don't help my step.
All right, so where can people find you? What's social handles or SoundCloud or whatever you want to plug?
So on Instagram, just DJ Tyler Valentine. Very simple. SoundCloud is still DJ Tyler Valentine, although I have not put a mix up in a while, but there will be one very soon. I promise.
Yeah, you put a mix out. You're putting a mix out with us.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So there will be one very soon, I promise.
This is one of the rare occasions, guys, that we're having a guest that is also the Get Down Radio Artist of the Month. So
yes,
we really should be doing this more often.
Now that would make sense. All right, so before we go, I actually have to plug something because we're not going to have another show until, I have a new track coming out next Friday. So that'll be June 30th. I have a new track coming out. It's called Closer. It's electro house / bass house. It's very cream vibes. And I will be giving away for free. You can find it Spotify, Beatport, anywhere where you download or listen to music. And I'm really excited about it. I'm pumped to put it out into the world and get some feedback and see if we can get some support and see if we can get some traction on it. So
yeah, we're going to put all Tyler's social information in the description below, and Kareem will probably put your pre-save in there too if you have.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, guys, you'll definitely see the pre-save. I would really, really greatly appreciate if you can go in and pre-save. It always helps in the algorithm. It'll just get a bigger push and more playlists can pick it up if we get a strong pre-save. So appreciate you guys.
So look out for that. Look out for Tyler's Get Down Radio.
Yes.
This was a good conversation, guys.
Yeah, Tyler, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Great convo. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for listening to this episode.
Thank you, guys.
Peace. Thanks for listening to the Get Down podcast. If you enjoy our show and find the topics entertaining or helpful in any way, we would greatly appreciate if you could subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you listen to it. We want to help more DJs, and subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show is the best way for us to do that. We appreciate all the love so far. Thanks for listening, guys.